Khamenei. Former IDF spokesperson and senior fellow with the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, joins me. Nice to talk to you again, sir. And tell me, you're in Tel Aviv. Can you give me a sense of the Israeli people? Are they all on board with this military action, or are they just some on board, apprehensive? Can you sort of give me a sense of the Israeli people?
Shalom, Greta from Tel Aviv. Pleasure to see you again. You know, the old joke is that if you have two Jews in a room, you'll have three opinions, and I think that's still true today. Having said that, as far as unity of effort and cohesion go, I think there is very solid support, popular support amongst Israelis to actually stick it to the Iranian regime, and once and for all, after us suffering 30, 40 years of Iranian aggression against us, most of it indirect, now once and for all actually bring it back and deal with the regime.
I would suspect, though, I would think, maybe not, maybe I don't understand fully, there'd be some fatigue, military fatigue, because a lot of these families have been fighting on the other side of the country in Gaza. And so now they've got to turn to fighting this, although this one's pretty much by air at this point. But I imagine there might be some military fatigue, and they'd be getting a little bit short of military supplies.
Well, thankfully, no. The situation is that we have just a fantastic, super professional Air Force and a logistic array that supports it, capable of delivering, precision-guided bombs 1,000 miles away from our borders and doing it relentlessly with high precision and very good results. And in parallel to that, air defenses that are very effective. Yes, you are right about the attrition factor, because Israeli civilians, millions of us, myself included, we have to run to bomb shelters 3, 4, 5, or 6 times per night when there are incoming ballistic missiles. And that's a lot of people running for shelter in order to stay out of the horrific, lethal effect of Iranian missiles. But, everything said and done, I think we are very fortunate. We are happy to be fighting alongside our American allies. I think we're doing well together. And Israelis are strong, resolute, and the issues of, supplies and missiles and all that is being taken care of. And when I compare ourselves to our enemies, we are in a much better position. It is us behind the driving wheel. And I think for the first time in 47 years, the Iranian regime is on the back foot. And I think Israel's intention is to really bring it home.
Well, the United States is, very fortunate. We have giant oceans that separate us, from any sort of aggression, whereas Israel's been dealing with a little tiny country in a very dangerous neighborhood. So it's profoundly different. So we Americans sometimes may not quite understand the feeling in Israel. Okay, the day after, when this ends, and hopefully it ends soon. Hopefully it doesn't result in a big ground war. What do you predict, or what do you think will happen inside Iran?
I think that's already happening behind the scenes. We have two clandestine services, CIA and Mossad. According to most reports and assessments, they are already there in order to help the Iranian people, key opposition leaders, in order to be ready and seize the opportunity once kinetic operations stop for whatever political or military reason, and the opportunity will be there to actually, for the Iranian people, overthrow the regime. I hope that it will be relatively swift, as peaceful as any toppling of any regime can be, and I hope that the members of Iranian security services, whether it is Basij, IRGC, police, army, that they've listened to the American president, to President Trump, and they understand that they will eventually be boiled down to two options. Either they do what's right, and that is turn sides and support the freedom of the Iranian people and rise up against the IRGC, or they face very severe consequences. And I think once the missiles stop flying, that is what we're going to see. I will be rooting for the Iranian people to take back their country. When they do, I think we're going to see beautiful, positive things happen in the region. and I personally can't wait for that to happen.
Well, President Trump says there has to be an unconditional surrender. Have you heard anything about anyone in the IRGC surrendering? Are there any indications people are, moving out of Iran who are in the IRGC?
Yeah, I mean, I listened very closely to what the president said, and then I also listened to the clarification offered by Caroline Levitt. It appears that that wasn't necessarily the intention of unconditional surrender. As I understand the definition, unconditional surrender is your enemy coming out of his hideouts with the white flag and hands up and saying, I give up. I think that isn't really a scenario with a regime like the Iranian regime, which is entrenched, fundamentalist, and will probably, burn down the house and take everybody with them before they surrender. But I think that there are other power brokers in Iranian society that will have the ability to actually make such a brave decision and prevent further destruction in Iran, further war, and all of the horrible things that are related to war. And that also is happening behind the scenes as we speak. The diplomatic channels are open. There are lots of agents and people on the ground that are there in order to receive exactly that type of outreach. And I think we will see it eventually.
Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.